supermarket. I don't know any of the names, but I remember that name.
Oh yeah, the brand recognition.
Time to start
Yeah.
watching for the bus stop. Right.
Ooh.
Oh.
Alright.
Folgers Coffee, Rockapella, and Deep Family Love.
I recommend the eating strategy of just sitting on the floor and getting up there.
You will see it,
It is just barely visible.
but you got to be right on the brakes once you see it.
Yeah.
Is that why you were lying on the floor?
No, that was a completely different reason.
Oh.
I think that was because we were EP?
Maybe.
End of night watch EP.
Yeah,
Did they steal the people?
perhaps.
Are you gonna try and do it in the left lane here?
What, the breaking?
No, the bus stop.
I did yesterday.
Yeah.
But not at night.
Yeah. I'm asking if you're going for left lane right now.
Oh no, like once you start breaking, you'll drift over if you're not scared.
Oh, I didn't know.
Now is this for the nighttime stops?
I've got like.
Is this harder than it was on the X? Like the XI has better color,
It
so
does.
it makes it easier to see at night.
But knowing when it's going to come gives you that ability to be ready.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I can scooch up to it if I'm a little early.
And again, the fact that it is being rendered, but it's just, I guess it makes sense that it would be rendered because they're just swapping the palette. They're not actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it isn't the same color as the background. There is a difference in color there.
Yes,
Yes.
you will actually see a bright speck appear, and then it'll get bigger. It's really kind of cool because it feels like you're getting the reflection off of a reflex coating.
Neat.
Yeah.
The kind of the retro reflective.
Yes.
Yeah.
It occurs to me that because of the palette swap thing, I wonder if the headlights are actually always there
That's a good question.
during the daytime as well, but they're just the same color as the road.
Oh,
Oh, yeah. It might be.
this was the other question.
And then they just palette swap it.
Yeah.
Or they set it
It
to
might just be a
transparent.
cookie to show the daytime version underneath the thing. Like it's just cut it for daytime.
Oh yeah.
All this is just making you want to get back to trying and doing a disassembly, and I do not have time for that.
Sean, if you ever do though, I'm definitely looking forward to it. Like,
Yeah, it's just the weird little why there's the bug of the nighttime dawn, like where the glitch is in the logic.
So there's one piece
Yeah,
of
I'd love to be able to someday fix that, or maybe even like do some ROM hacky stuff, like change the bug splat graphic or something. But that's
But yeah,
a
the
long way away.
disassembly is a tough deal.
So there's one piece of information I want to get still that I have not locked down about this game, and that's how long you can stay still before the bus is considered crashed
Right.
and overheated.
Yeah. How long can you?
I remember.
how can you
I think
stall?
it's quite a while.
It
Like
is.
if you don't crash on either side, like if you just stop in the middle of the road, it's quite. I remember at one point I was trying to work that out so that I could be like, I think we go to the bathroom and just
Yeah.
put the controller down and leave,
I
then come back.
I hit a bus stop earlier thinking that might actually also help it.
No,
Does not. And here's my theory,
it's if you're ever stopped for a certain amount of time, you overheat.
and that's the clue that gives me the theory. The speedometer is accurate.
yeah.
I wonder if the heat gauge is also accurate.
Well, I think someone the other day was saying just that the heat gauge was an indicator of how when it gets to the end it crashes.
Okay, I'm gonna have to pull up the Java version at home to.
Yeah. Well, is it even? I mean, the thing is that whoever would have programmed their own version of it, they get to make it act however they want, right? Like if the Java, but is the Java version actually like the reimplementation of, like, is it the cloud bus? Is that what
I'm
you're
unsure.
talking
I'm unsure. I think that's what I'm hoping to use.
about? The emulated version of the
but
bus.
I'm
okay.
unsure.
But yeah. Also, I mean, anybody who's doing disassembly or whatever on this would also have to know the capabilities of the Sega Genesis, because in terms of like layers and colors and stuff, because it's got. There's a really interesting YouTube channel that I watch sometimes called
Displaced Gamers.
Game Hunt.
Okay.
Oh,
See, I like displaced gamers for this kind of thing, but yeah.
now you
Game
can
Hunt.
fight.
Yeah.
He's a guy
Third
who he's ran Traveler's Tales, I think was the name, his game company. They did, but he worked on a bunch of games like a bunch of like the like Mickey,
The Illusion.
Mickey's Quest for for Sega, and they do like the Toy Story game
Oh, okay.
and various stuff, and he goes through and talks about some of the like, because back in the day they had all sorts of tricky tricks to make things work. There's the famous thing from there's like in Mickey's Magical Quest or whatever, there's a famous thing of him like he's running away from a elk or a moose or whatever, and it's like a mode 7 thing where he's like running towards, but the Sega Genesis did not have mode 7, and so he goes through like how they did all this stuff, or there's like there's a part where you're going up a tower that's in 3D, and so how they
how they were able to do that in Sega
but by basically they're doing like line interrupts where they can but because they can scale sprites dynamically as the thing is going down the screen.
I think that's how the Battletoads did the spinning
Yeah,
tower
yeah,
levels
yeah.
on the NES.
Or was it the other one he did was I think it's called Pugsley's Adventure. It was one of the Adams Family. And there's
I played that.
and again there's sort of a quite impressive thing of like a boat that moves back and forth. And again, you can't have a sprite that big on those systems. Sprites couldn't be that big, and so it's actually the background layer, but it's being rotated and drawn every single scan line.
Yeah,
It's very cool. The kinds of tricks that people had to do.
it's brilliant.
Now you grab the latest indie pixel game and it's like 5 gigabytes.
Yeah.
But because they have an actual engine and they can concentrate on making other stuff rather
They can
than
make pixels as any size they want.
exactly rather than having to spend all the effort on the stuff. But it's
Yeah,
fun.
I would have to go back and look at the documentation that I have again, but I think the Sega CD had the extra graphics hardware that gave it the capability to do essentially what Mode 7 was.
Okay. Yeah, because that's the other interesting thing. Yeah, like what the Sega. I was under the impression that the main thing the Sega CD added was sound, because you could get like straight CD audio,
Yeah,
and
I
then
think there
just
were
massive amounts of space, so you could have the like really crappy video.
Yeah,
An
But
additional
it was still
Super
only
sharp.
like 16 colors or whatever.
yeah, Super Shark and all that.
Yeah.
the Sega CD added a couple channels of audio, obviously the disk drive, but
And
it has
has
an entire like the same
its own CPU.
Motorola CPU that's in the Sega Genesis. There's another one of those in the Sega CD.
Right. But then of course there was probably a whole system for like transferring buffers back and forth between the two systems and all this kind of stuff. Yeah.
And that's what's making why I kind of got stalled out on the disassembly is because they have some memory for doing transfers, but they do not operate in sync.
Yeah. It's these systems were made in such an interesting way. Like they had all these particular chips, and so like if you were a person, if you really knew your stuff, you could get amazing performance out of them by like, okay, I'm doing, there'll be like one chip that only does like matrix multiplication, but it does it really well.
Yeah.
And so it's like if I can turn what I'm trying to do into something that this chip understands, I can do it. Whereas somebody who didn't know all the optimizations would be like, there's no way that I can get this to go fast enough.
Yeah.
Which is what made the porting between and the different
Right.
versions of the game so interesting at the time.
Yeah, that you could have like different capabilities and different things.
One of my favorite things to do with that, which you can even do now, is with any console generation, go and look what the launch titles were like, and then go and look what the last major prestige games were released for that same hardware.
Yeah,
Because you can see how much
they
learned
figured it
to
out.
push.
Yeah.
Mario World to Uniracers or to Yoshi's Island is
Yeah,
Yeah.
stunning.
dramatic. Same in the PlayStation era. Like, I think the PlayStation era is the most different.
Oh yeah.
I mean, well, and of course the Super Nintendo and the Nintendo cheated by actually having coprocessors in the carts.
Yes.
Right.
So like, the original Super Nintendo couldn't have done Yoshi's Island.
right.
Needed
The
that
Super FX chip was actually in the cart itself. In fact, apparently they made a Super Nintendo chip that could fit in a Nintendo cart.
Is that like the
There was actually a thing. It ended up being too expensive, but like it made it so that you could buy It would have been
A
like
one-chip SNES.
you would buy a Super Nintendo game and plug it into your NES, and it would work and look as good as a Super Nintendo
Pass
game.
through the video.
That-
Wow.
But then you're basically buying a Super Nintendo with every game. So
That's
not
what the
pretty
Super
effective.
Game Boy was. It was
There
just
it
a
is.
Game Boy and a
Yeah, you got
cartridge.
it. You got it.
Corey's got.
Okay.
Here we go.
Oh,
Yeah, I've got something after this, Paul, but I want to see.
oh, I can. Yeah, you can't
You
see
got
it.
this.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Just
Oh
crawl
my goodness.
ease it up.
It's even easier in the right hands.
There it is.
No, still too far.
Yeah. Yeah, you gotta scooch farther because you're in the right.
No, a little further. Scooch. Scooch. Scooch.
Ah,
Come on.
Oh.
just doesn't want to give it to you.
I think you may have gone too far.
There it is.
Hey! Nighttime bust off
Nighttime
all the
left
left.
side.
Done.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Eat it, Hemingway. Best 6-word story of all time. Nighttime left side bus stop.
We need like an inverted bus stop.
Coming from the other side, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, Paul. It's a little bit how like Castlevania 3